Okay, final question. Ladies and gents, about 3 weeks ago it was covered in the media that the Australian Christian Lobby was signed in to federal Canberra with I think it's got a lobbyist tag, so they can just walk around Canberra and they can talk to anybody, and it's fantastic. I have a two-part question for you, and I'm sorry, Lindsay, it's another email one for you to come back on Friday. The first part is, will you individually, if elected, sign in a representative of the Victorian Gay and Lesbian Rights Lobby or other gay and lesbian rights lobby to have the same access? The second part to the question is, will you come back by Friday with an answer from the leader of your party to do the same?
Answer to first question, yes. Answer to second question, don't be ridiculous. He won't be signing people's passes to come in for anybody because he'll actually be the Prime Minister. Like, yes, I will do that, as I've done for all kinds of different groups of people who've had access to my office and whatever. If I've never signed in somebody from the Victorian Gay and Lesbian Rights Lobby, then it's probably because they haven't asked me. So the answer is, would I have done it in the past? Yes. Will I do it in the future? Yes. Kevin Rudd is going to have some slightly more important things to deal with than the question of monitoring who's coming into the Parliament.
To the first part of your question, I don't want to sound presumptuous, but having been the beneficiary of passes before, I'm happy to sign in people that you know and work with and me. To the second part of the question, we could probably change the name because I think John Howard will have a lot better things to do after the election, and you don't ask the Prime Minister to walk down to the entrance of Parliament House and sign a tag for someone to get in.
I actually think it's a good idea if the Prime Minister is in touch with the community that elects him in or didn't vote for him. I think the key question is that the point of people in Parliament is to represent the community. So I think it's a serious mistake to say we've got better things to do. Well, why not? If you can sign an agreement with the Brethren, or if you can sign an agreement with Rio Tinto to exploit uranium, we can sign a card. That's the only way that governments will be able to truly represent the interests of the community, by actually listening to them and have them part of the political process. Politicians should not be seen as separate from the political process. You talk to them while you sign. You don't have to be mute.
They're not in the same room. I want the Prime Minister doing more important.
Yes, and I'll see if I can get Bob Brown to come back with the same by Friday. But I'm going to beg your indulgence for a minute, because we've actually had presented to us this view that we're not going to achieve anything on this issue unless we vote the Labor Party back in. And I just want to present, because I haven't had the opportunity to do it, a slightly different view of what the future could look like. Now, what we've been asked to sort of believe is that we're stuck with this rotten two-party duopoly, and that's the way it's always going to be, and if you do nothing about it, you're not going to be able to do anything about it. The best you can hope for is to have some progressive people inside the Labor Party. I don't buy it. I think that it's just a failure of imagination. We've had a democracy that's changed and evolved over the past century. It's a young and dynamic democracy, and going into this century, equally, it will change, and it will probably be unrecognisable to some of us at some point in the future if we had a crystal ball. The future I see is this. We see progressive lower house MPs elected to some electorates like Melbourne. That sends a much more powerful message to the ALP than voting in a so-called progressive member. That's what's going to send a message to the ALP. You elect a Green to one of these progressive inner city seats, and you will send a rocket through the ALP, and they will then come to these issues very, very quickly. The way it's going to happen because if we can get Greens in the Senate, get the balance of power, show people that we can do this responsibly, and get lower house MPs elected in a couple of seats, the Australian landscape will change forever.
I think that the Australian Democrats and the Victorian Gay and Lesbian Rights Lobby have a good working relationship, and that we each help each other out. And that Senator Lynn Allison, the leader and a senator for Victoria, has worked with the lobby to achieve things over the years. And whether, if elected, I would personally sign you in, I would do so with pleasure.
Come on, you can do better than that. And that's fitting on the afternoon. Come on.